my name is Robert, and this is part 2 of how to make a living as a guitar teacher. So, part 1, we talked about how it's kind of just you starting out with your students, getting students, and then how kind of to show them stuff and interacting with them. So, part 2 is the business side of it, because in most situations, well, at least around here, if you're a guitar teacher, you don't work for the store. I teach guitar at Metronome Music, but I do not work for Metronome Music. I'm hired out as a subcontractor, so that means that you have to keep all of your receipts for stuff that you buy. Usually you're going to pay to rent out a room in the store that you're at, and you've got to keep all this stuff because these are all expenses. So obviously some of you are not from the United States, so I don't know how the tax system works in other countries, but here those are all expenses that we need to record and keep track of. That way at the end of the year you turn them in when you do your taxes. So that's kind of the first thing. So when I first started out, like I said, I didn't have a whole lot of students, so I didn't keep track of stuff real well, as in the sense of I only had like 6 people, so I kept the receipts and did all that stuff, but then I didn't like write their names down. But the best habit you can get into is just writing down your students and like keeping track of them. What I do is I have a planner or organizer. And, it's just something you really got to get into, because you've got to keep track of different people are paying you money at different times, and it gets really confusing. Once you get into, you've got 20, 30, 40 students, it gets really confusing. You can't really remember, oh, Steven on Wednesday still owes me $20. So you've got to keep up on it, because otherwise you're going to end up either charging people extra, and then you're going to have people mad and they're not going to want to take lessons from you, or you're going to end up losing money, and, again, it's the same thing as if they weren't even paying for the lessons. So you've really got to keep track of stuff. Like I said, this is mine, and I'll do kind of a close-up of it if you want to try to decipher the nonsense. I mean, you can see Monday, it has my schedule, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, nada on Sunday. So, and beside them, what I do is I write down how much they have to pay, okay? And if the person's paid, just cross off, if they owe $60, if they owe $70, just cross them off as paid, and then in the little column beside of it, I write down how much I owe the store. So that way you keep track of things, because again, you've got to keep track of how much you're paying the store, because if you're not paying the store, they're not going to let you teach there. So definitely helpful to have a planner. I would really recommend starting it off, even if you only have 3 students, just get in the habit of having this thing. And I mean, you've got to be able to know when your lessons start, when they end, and what openings you have, because a lot of times you're going to be getting called from people like, hey, I want guitar lessons, what day do you have open? And it's good to be able to be like, well, I have Wednesday, 5 o'clock, does that work? And they're like, sure. It's better that way you've got it all taken care of, rather than, let me call you tonight whenever, I get in and I, find my schedule and all this stuff. It just, I don't know, it promotes more like professionalism and all that, because you obviously, guitar's fun, so you don't want to be this real like serious, like, we're gonna play a G major chord now. No, you want to be like, let's rock and roll! You still got to keep it professional. And it's especially in the sense of, the way that you come across at first is you want to be very friendly, and informative. Like, you don't want to feel like you're trying to sell somebody something. I be myself, like, the whole time, before they take lessons, after they take lessons, because I've talked to tons and tons of people who are thinking about signing up and they don't, but then maybe a month or so later, they come and like, hey, I talked to you and we really want to start taking lessons now. So that's like a great way just to let people know, like, you're friendly, you're excited about playing guitar. Another side, other than keeping track of stuff, is just the way you look. I mean, obviously you're not going to go into these places in a suit and tie and all that stuff, but what I try to do is I usually try to wear pants and stuff. Oh, that's my phone. Speaking of professionalism, oh look, a message from Rick Graham. But, anyways,